Hey world. Um, I'm really tired today, but that's okay. Um, so today was an absolutely great day, right? Like everything was amazing. Um, I was at peace. I was calm. I was just content. I was happy with life. And then about 4 hours ago, my kids started acting really nuts. I didn't eat because they were acting crazy. Um, I got frustrated. I got upset. Then I got mad at myself for not eating. Then, like, I started getting into this cycle and this vicious circle, right? And then my son screamed at me and yelled at me and went into one of his anger freakouts. And that's okay because they happen regularly right now. It was, today was like an amazing day. And then at that moment, it was like a switch flipped, right? It went from everything is great to it got really chaotic and the noise was overwhelming me and there was no like I started getting a suffocating feeling, right? Like I was in quicksand or like I was whatever. I just got very overwhelmed. And from that point until about 45 minutes ago, it was nonstop, just consistent, right? And 45 minutes ago, I stopped, I meditated, I finally got a little bit of time to myself. I folded 4 loads of laundry. I got some stuff done. I ate. Um, I didn't eat a lot, but I ate. Uh, I just didn't have an appetite because of the chaos and my son screaming at me, and it really affected me at that point. I was already tired, a little run down today, so it just hit me. I appreciate it, Kenny. Um, I don't know if a calendar would work, but I probably should try, right? I mean, it's my kids, because of everything they've been through, they have bad moments and good moments. They have moments where they don't want attention. They have moments where all they want is attention. Um, each one of them in different ways, right? And they're all conditioned and programmed different, and just like they have 3 different personalities. There's a few similarities. Sid is probably a combination of both Michelle and Thomas. Um, but at the end of the day, what I realized in the last 45 minutes was I had an amazing day, right? And, you know, this day really was great. I did so many good things today. I got so much done today. I really accomplished a lot today. And I'm proud of myself because I didn't allow the bad. Yes, the pizza was pretty good actually. A little burnt, but being eating it live probably wasn't the best idea, but that's okay. I was on Gabriel's live. It, you know, like I didn't allow it to destroy a great day. Yeah, I got in my head. Yeah, it was chaos because 3 kids, one father, no real support. It got a little overwhelming at moments, and because they all have their situations, they all have their circumstances, their emotional stuff. It became just very, very, very overwhelming. It just like ultimate chaos, and I didn't freak out. I yelled for a minute, but that was about it. Um, I got in my own head a little bit, and I started almost like stomping, right? Like I was just pouting maybe. Um, and the reality is there's no reason to. Everybody has bad moments. Everybody has moments that they're uncomfortable. Everybody has moments where it seems like everything's out of control. Um, and as much as I wanted to reach out to somebody, or as much as I wanted to lean on someone, I decided to lean on myself, right? Like, I mean, I reached out and I attempted, but timing, it's Friday. People have lives, right? I mean, I don't have a social life at all, and because of my circumstance, and I really, I mean, I have a life. I have an extremely full life, right? My kids are my world, and I'm doing so much and getting so much done. Um, and it's great, right? I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything, actually. But the not having a social life, not really having space or time to myself ever, gets a little tedious at times. It weighs on you. It kind of wears you down a little bit. It's the realities of a certain circumstances, right? And what I realized through all of this is as much as I accept that I'm resilient, I don't give myself that credit, but I'm really resilient. Like, I mean, I can get through anything. And I've accepted that today. And I'm at peace with that. And no matter how bad it seems at moments or how chaotic it seems at moments, I bounce back and I keep going and I don't give up and I push through. And, you know, it's different now. I find the silver linings a little bit better and I'm more open to it, right? Like earlier today, I talked about gratitude. The reality is, as chaotic as it is, as lonely at times I get, right? And yes, all circumstances are temporary, Kenny, not just the present ones. And I don't know about a social life. I mean, I'm a single father of three, right? So I don't know if I'll have a social life for the indefinite period of time. My youngest is 3 years old, so maybe 15 years. um, or when they're in school, at least going to school, and I'm settled somewhere, which I don't know where I'm going to be yet. It's a lot. It really is a lot to handle. It's so much at times, and it's I get to be so much at times, and I almost fell in that trap today, right, where I became overwhelming, but I paused and I stopped, and I saw myself heading down that path, and I stopped myself, um, which is a big accomplishment for me, right? Because I would usually just go full board and just do it, but I didn't. I didn't want to. I just didn't. Like, I'm in very precarious situations right now. I'm in uncharted territory. I don't know how to handle certain circumstances, but I'm doing the best I can with everything. And the house is a little bit of a mess. I got to sweep and mop and stuff like that, and I'll take care of it in the morning before they're up. Um, but at the end of the day, I'm doing a lot and I'm getting a lot done considering the circumstance. And I'm dealing with a lot considering the circumstance. Um, emotionally, mentally, physically, everything all ends. And I'm not giving up. I'm not stopping. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. Whatever my path is, I'm on it now. And there's going to be deviations, there's going to be slips, there's going to be side steps. But what I'm going to stop doing is allowing myself to take backward steps. So rather than making a backward step, I'll take a pause. I'll hold myself in place, maybe a side step, and then I'll get right back on my path again. Um, there's so much good going on in my life, and I am so blessed with so much, which is crazy to say with my circumstance, but it's true. I mean, I could not have my kids. They could be in the same circumstance they were in. I could be worried sick about them. I wouldn't have met people that I've met. I wouldn't have built relationships that I built. And I probably would have been delayed years from where I am. At least, right? It's there's so much that I can complain about and that I did complain about that I look at it now and it's not worth complaining about. It's just not. Like it, where are the complaints gonna go and what's the point? At the end of the day, complaining won't get me anywhere. Doing the best I can and accepting that every day and finding being my best self, that's all tied in. Um, I had a little pity party and I had a couple frustrating moments, but I didn't get engulfed in it, right? And I didn't let it swallow me whole, and I didn't just lose my shit over it. It's like, I mean, the progress within the last month has been like turbo accelerated. And maybe it's because I've been down this path before and walked away from it. Maybe it's because I'm more committed now than ever. Maybe it's because I don't have a choice. Or maybe it's just the right time. And why would I question it, right? Like, if things are going good, who am I to question that? If things are moving the right direction, then why would I? It doesn't make sense. So I'm just, I know it's Friday, and, you know, this is the time where everybody goes out, hangs out, does stuff, and, keeps themselves busy as a distraction, right? They look to go out because they want to feel wanted, they want to feel praised, they want to feel present. I don't need to go anywhere to feel present. I don't need to go anywhere to feel praised. I have three kids that are getting healthier every day. I have three kids that are growing every day. I have three kids that eat three times a day, bathe, take care, teeth brushed, everything every day, right? And I clean and I cook and I take care of everything I need to. So at the end of the day, I don't need to run from anything. I don't need to hide from anything. I don't need anything outside of me to fulfill me anymore. I'm pretty damn full. My life is full, which also means going forward, I'm going to pick and choose who I allow in my life. And I'm not going to beg somebody to be in my life because it's not worth it. I'm not going to, you know, settle for people in my life that don't have the same values and don't, not beliefs, but have the same values and passion and wants that I do, right? There's no reason for me to fall into that trap. There's no reason for me to get lonely and get uncomfortable or get desperate, right? Because why? I have what I need. Anything else that I bring in is an add-on. Anything else that I bring in is because I choose for it to be there. I'm at a point now where I'm just accepting. I'm accepting everything, no matter what it is that's coming my way. And I'm really enjoying it, right? Yeah, I had bad moments. Everybody has bad moments. Yeah, I made a couple mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I owned it. I moved on. I let it go. At the end of the day, today was an amazing, beautiful day. Yes, Kenny, never beg or settle. You know, about begging and settling, right? My whole life, I felt like things were always missing. I never was able to fulfill myself. I was never able to feel whole. I never felt like I belonged anywhere, like I came from anywhere. So at that moment, it was very difficult for me, right? Like I didn't know how to process. And I was explaining it to my father this afternoon, felt like this morning. That last 4 hours crushed me. Um, I was explaining it to him today, right? And it wasn't to anything that my parents did wrong, right? Because they did the best they could. Um, but I just felt misunderstood. I felt like I didn't understand. Like nobody understood me and nobody got me. And that I was just different. And you know what? I am different. And I'm good with that. I like being different. I don't need to be like everyone else to feel accepted, to feel wanted. I know I'm wanted. I know I feel accepted. I know that I feel loved, right? In different ways. And some people just don't know how to show it, right? Some people, show it in their own way. And it's very unorthodox. And truth is, I just have to accept it for what it is. Like, I can't expect somebody to show it in a way that they don't know how, or to show it in a way that they're not used to if they're not ready for it. Anybody, no matter who they are, right? Like, my parents grew up in a different era. Like, They were born in the 40s. They were raised in Brooklyn, the ghetto, not ghetto, but like lower class Brooklyn. They were working class, their parents, and it was it was just a different way to be raised. There was a different life then, right? So, anything that they filtered down to me was filtered down to me because they didn't know any better, right? Or they didn't know how to do better or be different. They came from where they came from. They accepted what they accepted, and I was just different. I was a different kid. I didn't fit into specific um, groups or people or my whole life. I mean, even in school, I never felt like I fit in anywhere. One day I'd be spending my time with the people they consider dorks. One day in the losers. The next day I'd be with the grunge kids. The next day I'd be with the cool kids. The next day I'd be with the jocks. And I got along with all of them. I was a chameleon. I was able to fit in anywhere, right? But it didn't matter who I was around. It didn't matter how many people knew who I was. I didn't care because I didn't accept myself. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that, buddy. I do have a special gift. I have a few of them, and I'm learning to accept them, right? And I'm learning to thrive with them. And I'm learning to be okay with them. But it's difficult at times. There's times that it's very rough. There's times that, you know, loneliness does set in. Um, Living my new schedule obviously helps because I'm in bed so much earlier and I don't have the nighttime by myself because that was tough, right? Like them going to bed at whatever time, let's say 8 o'clock, right? And I'd stay up till 1. Um, it became very lonely. Now I go to bed at 10, 10:30, and I wake up at 4:30. But after sleeping, my mind's clearer after a little bit of being up. But like after sleeping, I'm able to start a new day fresh. And I don't wake up carrying forward what I felt the night before. And I'm learning how to deal with my little nuances, my own nuances, right? Like I was always good at catching everybody else's, but now I'm learning mine. And it's a freeing experience because I know what works best for me. I know I'm starting to understand how to be my happiest self, which is a whole new concept to me. And it's a strange concept because I'm not used to it. Um, I shouldn't say strange, but it's different. Um, but I really enjoy it. I like where I'm at. I like where I'm going. I love the people that I have around me. You know, not physically because there's nobody around me, but it's it's good to know that I have a group of people that love, support, and are there for me when I need it. Right? There's people that I can reach out to, have a strange, weird conversation that makes no sense to current situations. They'll let it go. I'll let it go. Right? But it gets out of my head. Um, I'm still writing. I'm still doing those things. But the writing doesn't, it's not as therapeutic for me as it is for other people. Like there's certain things that writing does help, but then there's other things that the writing doesn't help. And I think a big part of this journey for me is like gratitude's enormous, right? And then accepting myself and showing myself self-compassion, love, and what I've always showed others. I'm now showing it to myself. And when doing so, it changes everything. It changes the dynamic. And as that changes, everything else around me is changing. How I interact with people, how people interact with me, people that I attract, people that I run off, right? It's a different perspective now. And I never understood that, right? Like I always felt it. I always wanted to feel it. I always wanted to acknowledge it and just be. Tired. Excuse me. But I never was. And now that I'm finally starting to get there, it's a whole different perspective. And it's a whole big dynamic shift. It's a whole big paradigm shift for me. Like I've completely flipped myself upside down from where I was. If you combine all these little tools that I've been learning, all these little tricks that I've been learning to control my old habits, my unhealthy habits, right? And I still make unhealthy decisions at times, but they don't become habits. I immediately put in a good habit right after that. I immediately, whatever, apologize to myself and forgive myself. Um, and that's a big part of this because if I can forgive myself, then I can overcome anything, right? Like my whole life, I was not very good at forgiving myself. I just wasn't. It wasn't my thing. If I wasn't going out on a Friday night, I felt lost. I felt like I didn't have a purpose. I had to be present. I had to show the world that I was there. And actually, I'm more present now than ever. And I have no life, social life. I have no, and I say things different. So now I'm learning to change how I say things. Um, I had no, I had no self-respect and no self-worth and no value of myself. I was always running to fit into everybody else's plans. I always had to be in the middle. I always had to be somewhere because I couldn't sit with myself, right? I always had to settle because I didn't want to be alone. Um, and at the end of the day, it's okay to be alone. It's okay to be with yourself. It's okay to, you know, want to be with yourself and by yourself. You know, like I remember before I came to get my kids, that last few weeks, it was the same thing every single day, just because I didn't want to be home. Because if I was home, I was stuck with myself. And I forced going places and doing things and being with certain people. Not all people, but certain people, right? Like there's people I want to spend time with, but I would have been better off just hanging out at their house. I would have been better off, yeah, I want to go out. I want to go to sporting events. I want to do those things, right? I love that stuff. It's exciting. It's emotional. It's moments, but I don't need to be there. I don't feel like I have to force myself to do anything anymore. You know, I I like who I am. I love who I am. I love myself now. And this routine's working for me, going to bed early, waking up early. Now, it doesn't mean I won't, once I get somewhere I'm settled, I have a way to go out and do something. I won't go out and do something. It doesn't mean that at all. I will when the time's right and with the right people. But I'm not going to force it either. I'm not going to, just go somewhere to go somewhere. I'm not going to just, you know, settle for myself or settle for my circumstance and end up somewhere I don't want to be because I have to be somewhere. It's a freeing feeling, right? It's a freeing feeling to know that I'm only going to go where I want to go. I'm only going to be where I want to be, and I'm not going to end up where I don't want to be. I'm going to just move forward. And it is a very freeing situation. It is a very freeing process. And I think that's all I wanted to share tonight. There's something to be said about finding your own personal freedom and being able to be okay with just yourself, not having to be anything for anyone else, not having to be somewhere to meet somebody else's needs or wants, but being okay where I am today. And if somebody has an interest or somebody wants to spend time with me, one, I can't leave anyway, so it's going to be on them to make the decision to come see me. If it's worth it to them, if it's of value to them to spend time with me, then they'll make the time. They'll make the trip. They'll make the journey. Because after all, when you really go places, you're going for the people, not for what you're going, not to be somewhere. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to say tonight. Kenny, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate you, man. You're an amazing person, a good friend, and I appreciate you for always being there, bud. Have a good night, everybody, and thank you.